What's going on, guys? This is Will from NC Alarms, and today you and I are going to be building the MapWorks Mini. This is going to be a bit of a longer video, so relax and enjoy the ride. Grab some popcorn, grab some goldfish, something you like to eat. Alright, so the first thing I need to go over, and I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible, is we need to go over the materials you need. So, let's get started. First thing you need is a half-size breadboard. First material. Second material you need is at least 8 screw terminals. This one has exactly 8. The third material you need is at least 2 relays. If you want to have the full functionality of the panel, I recommend that you have 4. And you need an Arduino UNO. You also need this display right here. And it has to be this display. I've had various people try to get around this display. It is not possible. I know it's an expensive display, but this is the display you need. That is not negotiable. This is the Adafruit RGB LCD shield with the RGB negative display. It is a very nice display for the price you pay for it. This is what you need. Alright, now the thing is about this display though, it only comes as a kit. It does not come pre-soldered, so you are going to have to be able to do a little bit of soldering. If that is an issue, unfortunately this video is not for you. Alright, the next thing you're going to need is 2 resistors. You're going to need a 47k ohm and a 10k ohm, or you can use as an alternative 1k ohm and 4.7k ohm. Alright, now some optional elements of this are the piezo. I'm going to be attaching a piezo just because of the fact that this is a fire alarm panel, and fire alarm panels kind of need a piezo to be complete, if you know what I'm saying. So we're going to be attaching this little Radio Shack piezo buzzer. Got this a while ago. Alright, so let's get building. You're also going to, actually I should mention this last thing, you're also going to need a printer cable so that you can connect this to your PC. That is for the programming tutorial. I'm not going to be showing you how to program this, I'm just going to be giving you all the program that's for the MapWorks Mini. No, it will not have my sync protocol on it. Alright, anyway, you're also going to need male-to-male jumpers, the ones that you can, ones that are like this where they have little pins on both sides. And you're going to need male to female jumpers. Let's see if I have one just sitting over here. If not, I'm going to have to go get it out of my box. Yes, I have a male to female connector. So this one, the difference about this cable is I could do this to the wires. If you can do that right there, then this is a male to female connector. One end takes a wire and the other end is a wire, if that makes any sense. Alright, now let's get building. So the first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to assemble your display, like I have here. So once you've done that, what you want to do is you want to plop it in your breadboard. There you go. And as you can see, I do have some wires connected over here. You need one wire in the input side of every terminal. You're going to be using them all. So let's start by connecting those wires where they need to go. The wire in terminal 1, which is the bottom terminal, is going to go to the first little slot on your breadboard. Terminal 2 is going to be going 2 slots over. Just like that. And in case you can't see that, zoom in a little more. Alright. So that's where wires 1 and 2 need to go. Alright. Scoot it up here a little bit. Terminal 3, right here, the wire needs to go into one of your relays. You can choose, I'll let you guys choose which relay, but depending on which relay depends on what this output is. So we'll get to that later. Alright, so terminal 3 is going to be going to the middle terminal on one of these relays. I'm going to choose relay number 1 here on the left side. So let's insert that into the middle of there and take our tiny screwdriver. You are going to need some small screwdrivers for this, and screw it down. And that's connected there. Alright, now you're going to take one of your loose wires. I'm going to take a longer one for this, like this one here. And we'll zoom out just a little bit. Alright. Alright, and we're going to take that from, let's see here. We need the normally open, so we are going to be doing the right side. So the terminal to the right of the one that you just inserted the wire into, insert this wire into there and screw it down. That should conclude matters there. And now go over to your Arduino, not the Arduino. Remember the wires that you inserted? Take the wire here and insert it into the same slot that you inserted wire number 1 into. Try to make sure that it's at the very end of that strip right there. So if I were to remove that wire, those two would be in the same one. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take from terminal 4, we're going to take that wire and we're going to put it with the wire on terminal 2. Now what's going to happen here is that when we hook up this relay to the Arduino, when the panel goes into alarm, it's going to be pulsing this relay here, which will be pulsing the power output here. Alright, so now what we're going to need is we're going to need a male to female wire, or a set of 3 male to female wires. These are kind of extensively long, but you can see this end is female. There's no pin connectors, like I couldn't stick these into a breadboard. And this right here is the other end of those wires. So what we're going to do is we're going to take choose 2 wires, and you're going to put them on the power rail, which is the rail that has the plus sign. So you're going to take it here, I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to put it I'm going to put my blue and purple there and there, and then I'm going to take my gray and I'm going to put it in the ground rail. So if I am to zoom in, you can see that right there. Alright, now we take the female ends and we're going to stick them on the power connections over here on the relay. So, let me show you where they go. Alright, so the blue wire, which is one of the power wires, is going to go on the leftmost side. So as you can see, it's blue to leftmost side. Now we're going to take the purple wire and we're going to put it in the middle pin, right there. And then we're going to take the gray wire and put it on the 3rd pin. These are your primary power connections for the relays. We will definitely be using the relays a lot, so those power connections are important. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take more male to female connectors, and I'm going to take over here on the relay board, I'm going to put the female side over here, the female sides are the ones that you can stick onto the pins. I'm going to take my white one here and I'm going to put it on the terminal labeled VCC, should be the rightmost side. And then take the one that says G and D and put the black one on that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plug the white one into the power rail, and we're going to plug the black one into the ground rail, much like that. This will allow the relays to be powered. Alright, now we're going to take another set of 2 male to female wires. I'm just going to make some real quick right here by using a female to female with a male to male. Kind of cheating the system a little bit, but it works. Alright. And then you're going to take the female ends, which my female ends are blue and red, but my male ends are black and white because I have them connected. Alright, so we're just going to call the blue one black and the red one white. So we're going to go over here to the relays, and we're going to put the blue one right next to the G and D terminal. So should be the middle left side that you're inserting that into. And then you're going to take the red wire and insert it into the last terminal here. Alright. Now the other ends of these, we're going to take our black wire here, which is connected to the blue wire, and we are going to put that in terminal number 8 on the Arduino. Right there. Now it'll say a little 8 on the side of it. So, unless you have an Arduino, you probably don't know what digital pin 8 is, but you're going to be using digital pin 8 for that. Alright, so digital pin 13 should get the white wire, which of course is connected to my red wire, which goes to terminal number 3 on the right set of terminals on my relay. Alright, this is already a mess of wires, as you can tell. There's a lot of wires going places. Now, if my wires will not come undone, that would be wonderful. Alright, so yeah, that's that. So now we are done wiring up the relays to the Arduino, but we are not done with the relays. We actually need to take terminal number 5, and I'll have to zoom out just a little more. We need to take screw terminal number 5, and we need to put that into the middle of the second relay, and then take our small screwdriver and screw that down. That green wire on the second relay, green wire. And now we will take, in the same way we took terminal 5, we will take terminal 6. However, we're not going to put it in the relay. We are going to put it in the same, we're going to put terminal number 6 in the same exact spot as we put the wire from terminal 2 and the wire from terminal 4. So what should happen here is that terminals number 2, 4, and 6 should all be going to the same column here on your breadboard. Alright, and now you're going to take another male-to-male wire, like this one. You're going to insert that into the rightmost terminal on your relay and screw it down. And you're going to insert that wire into the same breadboard spot as you inserted the right terminal from relay number 1 and from terminal number 1 on your screw terminals. Now the relays are completely finished. This is the point in time where you're going to need your resistors. You are going to need your 10k ohm or your 1k ohm resistor right now. What you're going to do is you're going to pick a spot here along the rail. You're going to insert one side of the resistor into the ground rail and the other side into any unused column on the breadboard. Alright, much like this. The resistor should be sitting right there. Alright, let me zoom in so that you guys can see the resistor. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the wire from screw terminal number 7. Alright, screw terminal number 7 here at the top. And we are going to put that in the top side. So that top side is very important. We are going to put it in the top side of that same column. You may need a longer wire than I chose. That is okay, just make sure that you can swap out the wire. That is what I'm about to do. Alright. I can use that wire for other small projects. Alright. So now let's insert that into there. Alright, now terminal 7 should go to the top of the same breadboard column as your resistor. So let's go ahead and place it in there. When you're done with that, it should look like this. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take, in the same way we took terminal number 7, we're going to take terminal number 8, but this time terminal number 8 is going to go directly to the power rail. And again, we're going to need a longer wire. So let's go ahead and get a longer wire. What we're wiring up right now is we are wiring up the zone. The zone uses what's called a voltage divider, which basically takes two resistors and divides down the voltage, making it so that there can be three conditions with the wires: open, closed, and normal. And I bet you can guess what that's for. I should mention that this control panel will not support two-wire smoke detectors. It will not. So just keep that in mind when you're building this panel. It does not support two-wire detectors. Alright, once you have wired up screw terminal number 8 directly to the power rail, which is the top rail for me, it could be the bottom rail for you depending on what direction your breadboard is facing. Now it is time that we've got all these wired up to do a little bit of internal wiring here. So what we need to do is we need to take, again, a longer wire. I'm going to take this black male-to-male wire, and I'm going to place that in the same column as I placed my 10k ohm resistor earlier. Like that. And that will in turn go to, if I'm not mistaken, analog 0 on the panel. On the, sorry, not the panel, the Arduino UNO. Let me verify this. Actually, you know what? I do know that it's analog 0. It is analog 0 that it goes to. So make sure that you put that into A0. And once you've done that, you're pretty much good to go as far as the zone. The zone's all wired up. This resistor right here is for the end of line. Depending on what panel you put in resistor, or what resistor you put in the panel, will determine what resistor you need on the zone. So we'll save that for when we do the test of this in a little bit. Alright? Now what we need to do is we need to take our piezo, if you so choose to have one. You need to take the positive wire, which is probably red. It could be brown or could be even black. Just depends on what you do. And you need to take the positive end and you need to place it into digital pin 12 on your Arduino UNO. It is important that it goes into digital pin 12, as that is the pin that is controlling the piezo. Alright, and then take the negative end and you're just going to place it into ground. Mine is a frayed wire. Please ensure that you can insert them into the breadboard before you try and wire up your piezo, otherwise you're just going to have a really bad day. Alright, now that the piezo is wired up, alright, I believe there is one more thing that we need to do. We need to take, now we're going to wire up the LCD module. Now the LCD module needs 5 wires. So let's start with wire number 1. Wire number 1. Now this is important, guys. You're going to have a hard time seeing this, but you need to pay attention here, because doing this right will ensure that your LCD works right. You need to take a wire from A5 on the Arduino, which is analog 5 that I just plugged it into, and you need to take it and put it in the same column as the very first pin right here. The very first pin that goes into the breadboard on the LCD module. Now how I'm numbering them is I'm numbering them 1 through 6, and then you have set 2 1 through 6. So you need to go to set 1, pin 1, and place the wire in the same column on the breadboard. Alright, in the same way, you need to take a wire from analog pin 4, or A4, as it is labeled, and it needs to go into set 1 pin 2. So let's take a wire to go from A4, and it's going to go to the column right next to the wire you just inserted into the breadboard. It should look something like that. Alright. Next, what you need to do is you need to take a wire from the power rail and you need to plug that in. Actually, you need to take a wire from the ground rail and you need to put that into set 2, so the second set of pins over here that go into the breadboard, pin number 2. So put it in the same column as pin number 2 on set 2, just like that. In the same way, you need to take a wire from the power rail and go to pin number 4 on set 2. Which is exactly 2 columns away. So you have your ground, and then you have skip a column, power. Alright, and in the last pin on set 2, you need to take a longer wire. So let me grab a long wire here. That should work. Alright. And you need to take from the reset pin on the Arduino, and you need to plug that into the very last pin right there, and it too is 2 columns away from the column you just inserted a wire into for the previous step. Alright, so there's that. And now for the very last step in building the control panel. You need to take a longer wire for this one, and you need to go from the 5 volt on the Arduino. There's only one 5 volt pin. There's 5 volts and there's 3.3 volts. Make sure you're going into the 5 volt pin. And you need to place that in the power rail. And then you can take a wire from the ground, which is right next to pin 13, and you need to insert it into the ground rail, or the rail labeled minus. And you, my friend, have successfully wired up your MapWorks Mini. So now give me just a moment and we are going to test this puppy out. Alright, now that the MapWorks Mini is all built up and I have it wired up, I'm going to go over the usage of the panel. First we'll start with alarming it, then we'll proceed to doing a fire drill, and then I will show you system trouble, and then I will show you how to silence the trouble, and then how to program the system. So let's get into it. So here we go. Start by just pulling zone 1. Actually, first, there are a couple things I forgot to mention. You need at least a 5 volt 2 amp. 2 amps is important, otherwise you're not going to have enough juice in the system to alarm it. It's very important that you have at least 2 amps coming in through this printer cable. I am using a Samsung Rev 3 phone charger. It's basically for their Galaxy S5s through 8s or whatever. And you need a separate 24 volt source going into the panel. You could use 3 and 9 volt batteries, that's fine. I'm using a wall power. I'm using wall power that is has a little transformer, and then it puts out 24 volts DC filtered, which is nice. And then these 2 terminals here, the NAC, these 2 are the relays. Or these 2 are the resettable power, and these 2 are zone 1. These 2 are 24 volt input. Number 1 is positive, number 2 is negative. Then you have positive, negative, and then you have whatever polarity you want. Alright, now let's pull it. Silence. Now, because mine can do audible silence, it's cool. Yours will not. The panel that you guys get, or the code that I will be providing for you guys, will not have this feature in it. Alright, so now let's reset the panel. Now what we're going to do is do a fire drill. How do you do a fire drill? You press the up button on the arrow pad. To silence, press the down arrow. To reset, press the button labeled reset. Alright, if you want to put the zone in trouble, the easy way to do it is remove the positive wire down here, but because you guys probably don't want to be going through this video a bunch of times, I'm going to show you how to do it from the back of the control panel, or from the pull station. All you need to do is you need to just take a wire out, and it will put it into trouble because I have the resistor in the back of the 4251. as you can hear the piezo sounds. There we go. Alright, to silence the trouble, you can either pull the wire out or you can press the right arrow. And you'll have to hold it for a second because this goes through a loop. Alright? And then until you fix the trouble, the panel will be in trouble and will remind you every 24 hours. The panel will reset on its own when it detects the trouble fixed, however, which is something even my MapWorks 4002 cannot do. It's just too much programming for me. Alright, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to program the system. So let's start by pressing the select button to enter programming, and then you have to enter the password of 1234. That cannot be changed. I accidentally hit select. Hit enter, and as you can see it says access granted. Now there are two menus here, two sub-menus. You have zone 1 type and signal code. We will start with the zone 1 type, choose what type of zone we want. We could have pull station, we could have smoke detector, or we could have alert. Set it for pull station, it says type change, then it'll take you back to the menu. Alright, then we can do signal code, and we have code 3, slow march time, and continuous. Those are the options you will have. I happen to have multi-sync and multi-sync SIL. Multi-sync SIL does audible silence, this just does regular silence. Right now we are going to set it to continuous. Alright, so let's go ahead and press select. And then once you've done that, you can just press the reset button and it will reset the system and save all your configurations. Alright, so now it is time to pull it again, and I'll let you see how I operate the panel. Alright, first thing to do, we gotta silence the system. Press the down arrow. And it should pretty much instantly silence. Then you gotta reset the pull station, obviously, otherwise it's gonna go back into alarm. Alright, and now what we need to do is we need to reset the system by pressing the reset key. Alright, do a fire drill, press up. Silence, reset. So yeah, there you go. That, my friends, is the MapWorks Mini. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please smash the like button. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and rate so people just like you can see this video too. I'm Will from NC Alarms, and this has been building the MapWorks Mini.